What's up? Clay Abernathy here with your Ideal Minute. We are excited today. We get to meet with Chase Building Team. Leanne Harrison, she's awesome, and the whole team over there. They are showing us their project at Pima Community College and some of the things that they're doing, highlighting the trades actually with their building, which we are very excited to walk through. I can't wait to talk to them about it. In fact, there they are right there. Leanne, it's so good to see you. Thanks
too.
again
How's
for
it
having
going?
us. Oh, it's great.
This is Andres.
Andreas, thank you so much. Run us through a little bit about what we're going to get to see today.
So this is Pima Community College's new advanced manufacturing building. Pima Community College has revised their curriculum to bridge the gap with workforce development and provide hands-on, real-time training to provide the students with the skills that are going to be required in the workplace.
That's awesome. You know we love that over at Ideal. That's exciting.
Similar to what you guys are doing.
Yes, we're very excited to see this. Well, great. Well, take us through and show what.
Let's go on in.
Yes, let's take a look. We're excited to see it. Ooh la la. Got to get the right PPE on. Super important. And it's nice that it's about 100 degrees out already. Got a sweatshirt I could wear too, please? All right.
So this building on the north is basically complete through the construction phasing. The north building, we poured the slab first. We poured the slab on deck first. So this has almost all the finishes inside. And then area C, which we call it, has most of the drywall and texture in. Painting's done. There's still some rough framing going on and drywall hanging. So you can kind of see that once you walk in the building, the difference in sequencing.
Awesome. And when will they start classes on this site? Or are they going to do it all together when you complete?
They're going to do it all together once we're completed.
Awesome. And that's going to be November?
Yep, we're scheduled to complete end of November.
Awesome.
So we'll start on the welding lab. Just to give you a brief overview, Pima Community College has a welding lab facility in their ST building. And this is roughly 3 times the square footage of that. It's going to be equipped with 43 welding booths.
Awesome.
And there's a couple flex spaces on the exterior. And this is where they're going to integrate the trades with construction building technologies, which is the next phase of construction.
And that's this right here.
Yeah, so this is our welding lab. As you can see, there's a visual connection to the ST building here. And this is where they're going to integrate some of the welding with other construction technologies like the mechanical ductwork, plumbing, things like that. One of the cool features of this building is the 10-ton bridge crane, which spans the structure. So if we step outside here, you'd be able to see it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yep.
So they're going to use that for pulling things in and out?
Yeah, so essentially the bridge crane is the focal point of the design. It drives the structure, it drives the curriculum, and as you can see, as we get up on the second floor, it's going to span and cantilever 40 feet on the south end and on the north end. And the loading zone is going to be here on Maple Street, and they're going to be able to pick up any equipment that they need, anything for welding, anything for machine tools, bring it up into the structure and place it in designated areas.
How will they get it in the classroom from there?
We have doors like this, sectional overhead doors, where they'll be able to roll the equipment into the classroom.
So what's unique about this building design over some of the buildings that Chase has done? I know you've done quite a few other schools out in Marana, also did the Twin Peaks Mall. But when you're going into construction technology and building facilities like this, what are some of the additional features that you had to bring in that's not traditional? Besides that cool crane.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, number 1 is the crane. Number 2, we want the trades to be on display. So things like exposed bracing, there's going to be some glass here, so you're going to be able to understand how the structure works. Exposed ductwork throughout some of the labs, like the welding lab and the machine tools lab. And this is actually another unique part of the design as well.
So now these look unfinished. These stairs, they'll finish them up here soon?
Yeah, so we're gonna get paint on the exposed steelwork. And then this area is basically the grand entryway and the connection between the existing downtown campus and the new addition of the advanced manufacturing building. You can see the cast in place walls here. They're basically large planter boxes that welcome the students as they enter the facility.
Cool.
There's a pretty cool spot over here that's kind of taken shape. Cool, so we can take a look at it.
So right now, we're kind of in the finishing stages. Mm-hmm. You can see you got paint on the walls. What are these up here?
So these are what we call cloud acoustical ceiling panels. We're going to get some lights in between them, and this is going to be one of the open areas for the students. And this is kind of a tie-in between the curriculum going on in each building, and Area B, which we call it, is kind of what connects everything. And these are more student-driven, whether you're in the curriculum or if you're just a student from Pima Community College. So you can see this next area here is going to be encased in glass.
So now we got the framework coming in for the glass here.
Mm-hmm.
And about how far along are we on this? This will be a good transition because we'll be able to see, you know, trim out to starting to trim out, right?
Yeah, so we just finished the EFIS system on the breezeways, and we're doing overhead painting. We just finished up some of the texturing, and one of the biggest things that we're looking forward to right now is the raised slab in all the breezeways. So there's a small step down right now, and because sequence of construction, we had to leave an open path for the people to put scissor lifts, things like that on that can withstand a certain amount of pounds. So once we put in the topping slab, basically that's going to be a signal that all the exterior work is done, all the breezeway work is done, and we're going to move on into finishing the interiors with millwork, carpet tile, wall tile, things of that nature.
So it sounds like you've got one of the neat things that it sounds like is that with Chase Building Team is that you've got to learn a lot about what it is that they're doing for this school so you can integrate properly throughout. Is that correct?
Yeah, so one of the things, I'm a relatively new employee here at Chase, but one of the things that I've learned really quickly on this job is don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, we're filled with a knowledgeable staff at Chase Building Team. And if you're not familiar with certain things, you can always ask and somebody will teach you, hey, this is why we have this specific system tying to this. This is why, you know, they basically teach you the rules of construction. And I came from a background where I know how to design, but it's nice to get my hands dirty and say, hey, teach me these things because I know that this is the way that buildings get actually constructed. But you can see this carved opening here in the structure. And essentially what this is you can see the crane railways right above you. And like I said, for this specific area, the Fit Lab, they call it, and the industry partners that need equipment brought into here, they can set it out on that main street on the north end, crane it in, and then there's a carved out pocket in the structural slab that allows for them to access these overhead doors.
And what's the weight limit on that crane? Do you know?
It's a 10-ton crane. So this is the structural slab system that I was telling you about. So basically it's a 3-part system. Right here you can see the transition, or the step that we call it, from the interior space to the patio space. This took a lot of coordinating with our structural steel team, the people who put in the rebar. There's specific drag bar and Z-bar that go into this area. And the lower area is actually the basis of what we call our topping slab. So on top of the low area, we're going to put some foam, rigid insulation that slopes to drain because this is technically an exterior space. And then there's going to get 3 inches of topping slab, which is the finished slab. So that is what they will be loading their equipment onto, is that topping slab. And that's what's going to, like I said, signal for almost the completion of the building. Is once we have that topping slab in, all exterior work, things like cutting the decks or setting any HVAC systems, exposed duct, that's going to be completed, and everything else will be interior construction. There's about, I would say, about 12 to 15 of these rooms scattered throughout the project.
So what stage do you bring in the glass or the framing for the glass? Is that considered a rough-in, or is it considered a... Because I can see it kind of all throughout various stages. So when did you bring in the aluminum? This is aluminum, right?
Yeah.
So when did you bring in the aluminum for the glass?
So as we were going through some of the areas, the interior breezeway areas were what we call dense glassed, which is a type of drywall. It's an exterior type of drywall. And once that was done, they had our waterproofing team had to do some waterproofing at the edges to seal it. And then after that, they did the rough-in for the frames.
Cool.
And then as the project gets completed, they set glass, in areas that are unoccupied.
Right, that aren't going to break.
Mm. This is a system of the EFIS. So at the very bottom of that, underneath the foam coat, is a waterproofing coat. And then along the edges gets a special type of tape that helps bond the waterproofing to the dense glass. Then at this point, they're doing the rigid insulation. They're cutting in control joints, which will eventually be reveals in the EFIS system. And then the gray coat they're putting is a base coat, and that'll be basically what the color goes on top of. And one of the neat features about this building as well is we have a large suspended staircase. and it's only being held on at the base here in the structure, and then by 1.5 inch steel. So you can see kind of the steel cables going up into the roof structure. And when our contractors were setting this, I mean, these are guys that have been doing this for years and years, and they had to get a special type of equipment because the staircase was so large. And this actually brings us into one of the, what I think is the neatest spaces in the project, which is our large patio space out here. So as you can see in the storefront system, the openings are going to be bifold doors. And this is going to be what the school, it's like a large conference room, and special events will be held on this patio. And this will be kind of the showpiece, I think.
Yeah.
Overlooking the mountains.
Now, will this also get the same base?
Yeah, yep, it'll get the rigid insulation and the topping slab.
I'm out of breath. Walked up a whole set of stairs.
Yeah, those stairs are.
Whew. At what time did you guys put the crane system in? Was that one of the first things you brought in? Do you use it at all now, or is it?
No, so we brought that in once the EFIS system was done in area A, we call it. We brought the crane system in. They ran the power bar, which is the orange and green bars that you see inside the flange of the beam. It's not operable right now. We're not going to use it during our construction, but once we turn it over to the client, they will be able to use it at their own discretion. So these are our large conference rooms, and they have a bifold door that intersects them, or sorry, a foldable partition wall that intersects them. And like I said, in specific times where there's 2 separate events going on, they'll be able to pull that door out and have 2 separate rooms. Otherwise, this is essentially a large gathering space. And in this specific area, we call it the East Building of Area C Level 3. This is what I feel is kind of the more social program of the building. So we have the large conference room. On the other side of those walls, we have a food prep area. We have a large lounge area for the teachers. So like I said, this is basically the one area where the people will be able to come and have more of a networking events.
So on these vents, they don't look finished. You put an exterior over them too?
Yeah, so we're gonna put exterior insulation over them. And in this area specifically, the overhead work is still needing to be done. This is essentially the last area where all the trades are running through. So we still have overhead electric, we still have a little bit of HVAC overhead, and obviously taping and texturing is gonna be one of the keys. And then once we get all that stuff in, we're also gonna have a ceiling grid system that comes in here. So like I said, this East Building, I would say we're about 65 to 70% complete. We just got to get the rest of the trades in here.
Well, what are you going to do on the floors? Are you finishing these floors or leaving them this way?
They're going to get carpet tile.
Carpet tile.
Yep.
I love it. You guys are doing an awesome job.
It's kind of a standout feature of the building, and you can see some of the flooring is already done in here.
Oh yeah, that's slick.
And some of the walls as well. So at this point, they're setting the tile. Once they're done, they'll grout it all at once, and then at that point, we're ready to start installing some fixtures, some of the toilet partitions, sinks, things like that. Some of the lighting. You can see right behind you, there's an opening for a trough light, which is going to illuminate the space. So, and this is the last area where they're going to do this large format tile. Everything else is going to be the small wall tile, 2x8, 4x4.
What do we got over here? What would this be? Dryers? What is it? What got sinks?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a hand drying station, so you can see the receptacle inside the wall. They're going to have a hand drying station here.
They got wash basins here?
Some drinking fountains there.
There you go. Yep. I knew there was water somewhere. You know.
And that specific type of, it's called Den Shield. That's going to be where we place the tile on. So we're going to put the fixtures in there, and then we're going to set the tile basically 7'2" by whatever the width of those drinking fountains are on that system.
It's awesome. Looks great. You guys are doing awesome. Great view out here. Really using the space well.
And we were ahead of the game, you know. When we started this process, that's when the supply chain issues started. And our team that began the project was really smart in procuring a lot of the structural steel. So we had our structural steel in our yard, which is about a block away for months and months before we even did any of the structural steel work. And that's kind of what you have to do in this climate. Think ahead so we can minimize the issues that are related to the project.
Right. So no, you got no slowdown.
No.
So it looks like they got their base coat of paint on here. Or
Oh yeah,
primer?
they have their I think it's their primer.
Yep.
And they're gonna start painting here pretty soon. We just finished up the texturing in all of this area. I think it was on Saturday afternoon. So we're ready to get painted out, and then our taping team's gonna switch over to the east building. So one of the nice exterior features, I mean, there's a lot of them, but one of the really cool ones is our insulated metal panel system that is visible from the freeway, visible from Speedway here, and it's gonna have an illuminated Pima Community College logo on the top corner of the building to signify this is an extension of the Pima Community College campus. And you can see it right there.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about how you put this together. Is that foam underneath it?
Yeah, so that's the insulation. So each panel has insulation behind it. And then inside there's a lot of metal stud framing, cross bracing, things like that to get the structure to, because it cantilevers 16 feet in the air. So there's a lot of studs needed and a lot of bracing needed to make the structure stand tall and strong.
Now, is the metal got foam attached to it? Or,
Yeah.
So those panels come in a particular place. Now, do you have, looks like you got Tyvek the
Yeah.
other side of that? Did you say that's wood framing there?
No, it was a metal stud framing behind it.
Oh, metal, okay.
Mhm.
And then you Tyvek that? Or
Yeah.
is there shearing going on there too?
No, so we Tyvek the metal stud framing, and then after that we set the metal panels, which have the foam on the back of them, on top of that. So that's the whole complete system there.
So that counts as some kind of insulation too, a little bit.
Mhm.
Is there? Okay. And elevators are next to it.
Yeah, so the elevators are next to it. This whole area right here is the exhibition space. And like I said earlier, Area A is a little bit further along than Area C. But this whole area is an exhibition space. This wall behind you is going to get metal panels on it as well, with an audio-visual system, a couple audio-visual systems in there for anything like student presentations, things like that. And the rest of this building is computer-aided design. So anything from 3D printing to advanced intermediate CAD classes.
Tell me a little bit about this scrim wall you got over here. Pretty cool.
So the scrim wall, so there's a couple exterior features that help block out the climate of Arizona. The scrim wall is one of them. It dampens the sun coming from the east in the mornings. And again, it encloses the space without actually enclosing the space. So a lot of the breezeway areas are kind of interior, exterior areas for the students. So the breezeways are going to be open air path, walkways, things like that. Again, it's another design feature. We used a similar tactic at the transportation building in the exact same location on the east side of the building. Because we have a lot of storefront in here, we want to reduce the heat gain from the storefront system. So
is it just metal?
Yeah, it's just a perforated metal system that attaches through tube steel that then connects to the structural steel, structural columns, the beams, things like that. Being a part of things like this, I mean, I went to the downtown campus, and that was, for me, this project's really special because I was a student at that campus. To be on a big project like this, it's been fun. You know, hopefully in the future I can get my license, you know, fulfill my hours. Right now I have hours for construction activities.
You think you learned more in the internship with Chase than you did throughout college, or vice versa?
You know, I learned more about the hands-on things. I learned a lot of stuff in college was technical, renderings, section drawings, things like that. But to learn how the building's actually constructed and see it from plan to the to physical embodiment, I think for me that's the most important thing, is not only understand the drawings but be able to execute the drawings and understand where there's certain deficiencies and troubleshoot while you're, you know, constructing a $35 million building.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Leanne and Andreas. That was an awesome tour of that building. We are amazed at all the things the Chase Building team is doing, and we look forward to the future projects with you guys. That has been your Ideal Minute with Clay Abernathy for more than you can imagine.